History records the actions of the powerful, and women, having less power than men, have often been invisible. That raises one of the big questions posed by historians of women. How has it happened that women have been so persistently disadvantaged? How do we account for the fact that women in politics, the arts, and at work in general have occupied a distinctly secondary, sometimes invisible place? We can begin to answer this question by looking at how women were positioned in the pre-industrial era, the colonial period of American history, when time and change seemed to move more slowly. We're not going to ask whether women worked in that period, but rather we're going to explore how they did so. That question is a little trickier. When we look closely at the colonial period, we note that family ruled. Push a bit further, and you might want to describe the family as patriarchal, governed in almost every instance by a male head. Push more, and it becomes clear that families rooted in European tradition reproduced a hierarchical social order responsible to their royal monarch. This order was held in place by faith in God. The king was God's representative. How did the social order influence how women worked? Everywhere, the family was a fundamental building block of social organization. This was true in the pre-industrial economies of Europe, as well as in the colonial period in the Americas. Constituted by godly or monarchical authority, the family and the household and community they served defined and maintained social order, located economic responsibility, and authorized or denied political participation. But here's the rub. Just as today, the idea of what constitutes a family is in flux, so residents of the colonies would not have been able to describe the family. Rather, there were different kinds of families, each responsive to their own religious pressures and social demands, and each supportive of particular economic needs. Family meant something quite different in Puritan New England than it did in Spanish California or French Louisiana. Some families demanded particular kinds of labor of all their members. Others provided women with leadership roles and economic authority. All of them constrained women's voices within patriarchal structures ordained by religious injunction. On a daily basis, the kind of work in which women engaged was prescribed by their family locations, by wealth or the lack of it, by spatial location, and by the religious preferences of the male head who exercised authority. Let's start then with the family. Let's take a look at women's positions in some different kinds of families to see what we can learn about where and how women worked, and if and how they exercised power.